Okay, before I start this video, I would like to extend my condolences to Sandra Massey and her family. The way she was killed by the police was truly a tragic event. When incidents like this happen, it makes you wonder why it keeps happening and why so many people lack sympathy. What I do on this channel is break down the media. And the media has played a major role in portraying the images of black men and black women. One of their tactics is to highlight black crime when there's a black person who is a victim in a high-profile police shooting or a racial issue. This leads some people to lack sympathy for black people. So, you may notice an increase in black crime stories in your social media feeds and in the media overall. Anyway, I just want to say that before I start the video. You guys have a blessed day. Hello and welcome to the channel. You know, it used to bother me big time back in the 1990s when I would always hear all the black men are in prison. You would see every news report was about black men being in prison. You would think all the black men were locked up. You go on a date with a sister and she tell you there ain't no good black men. They either on the down low, dating white girls, or in prison, etc., etc., etc. That's all you used to hear.
The mass incarceration, that when you see the populations of these prisons, and it is predominantly black men that are, these prisons are full of black men. Full.
Then you used to hear all the conservatives, all the racist people who had an agenda, all the white educators, all the black educators. This is all they was talking about on every talk show, every news show. Black men in prison. Everybody who was talking about black men and crime and prison. Everybody was talking about this.
We're caught with 5 grams of crack cocaine versus 500 grams of powder cocaine, you would be sentenced to the same mandatory minimum prison sentence, at least 5 to 10 years in prison. The programs of the drug war continued targeting low-income communities of color with more police, more surveillance, and eventually more incarceration under much harsher sentences.
Matter of fact, many black men was thinking, man, we all in prison, even if they wasn't in prison, okay? So in this video, I'm going to debunk these perceptions. And the reason why I'm gonna do that, because many of them still exist today. And I'm gonna take a closer look at the decades when these perceptions started. In the 1980s and the 1990s. That's when all these perceptions started with black men being in prison, because some of the laws changed and all that. I'm not gonna get into all that in this. I'm just gonna deal with the perception in this video. So now, let's look at some numbers real quick. The total male prison population during the decade of the 1980s was around 460,000 people. That was it. And in the 1990s, the average prison male population at any given time was 1 million. So it jumped, right? It jumped in those decades. And there are a lot of reasons for that. If we use the year of those last of those decades, 1999, the total male prison population was around 1.2 million. That's everybody. Whites, blacks, Hispanics, everybody total. That was the total male prison population. And here's the racial makeup for 1999. The black male prison population in 1999 was around 600,000, 48%. The total black male population in the United States in 1999 was 16,500,060. That's around 12% of the population. That is a high number, 48% for just a number of 12% of the population. And there's a lot of reasons for that. I'm not gonna get into that right now. Right now, we're just gonna deal with the perceptions. So people, can you tell me what is 48% of 1.2 million? So let's just say 600,000 black men were in prison in 1999. 600,000. What percentage is 600,000 of 16,500,000? What is that percentage? Look at that number right there. Look at that number right there. 3.62%. So during the time that when everybody was saying all these black men are in prison, less than 4% of black men of the total black male population was in prison. Were in prison at any given year. 4%. Don't let them manipulate the statistics, because that's what they do. Using that 1999 figure, and I'm using that because that's when I used to hear all this talk about black men in prison. And even as prison rates rose over the 2000s, and that was for everybody, even at its heights, around 10% of the total black male population were in prison. That means 90% of black men were not. But yet the media will make you think the majority of black males have been in prison. I know I haven't. So now ask yourself, how did we all get these misconceptions? How did we get these misconceptions, you guys? How? About black man in prison. As we can see, the majority of us was not in prison, because it was manipulation of surface level statistics from a broader context of media influence and biases. They push this agenda on us every day in every media outlet. Every day. It's all we heard. You watch a talk show, black man in prison. Everywhere, in the movies, black man in prison. On the news, black man in prison. We just watch this shit everywhere.
Ozone, Turbo, do your thing. Oh no, Lois, those are 90s black guys. Those aren't 80s black guys at all. Run!
We're here to dance for the kids.
Run, 80s black guys. You're no match for the 90s black guys.
So we know the media played a significant role in shaping the public perceptions, using selective reporting and media framing. Media framing is where they shape and present information to influence perceptions in the way they want it to be perceived. And media saturation. They constantly bombarded the public with stories about black crime and prison statistics. And when you bombard people with images over and over and over, it can mess with people's perceptions, making them think the issues are way more widespread than they really are. Okay, and that's it for this video. Thank you and peace.